is up, Baggies fans, football fans, and sports fans, to the latest episode on the channel. And today we are going to be reviewing our transfer window as a whole, combining all the players that have gone out and all the players that have come in into one video and talking about each one and breaking it down and letting you know what I overall think of our window. Obviously, I want to let you guys know in the comment section down below what you think of our window as well. It'd be absolutely fantastic to read all your thoughts and, break it down properly. Let's aim for 40 likes on this video. Obviously, subscribe. We are well on our way to 700 subscribers now. We should be at around about 640, might be up or down depending on what happens before this video releases. We are well on our way to that 700, and obviously 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, which would be absolutely fantastic. So let's get into it, and let's start with the transfers out and obviously the players that have been released. We'll start with the released ones, the ones that have left on free retirements. Obviously, we had Semi Ajayi leave. He's gone to Hull City, left on a free. He's gone up to Hull. And I don't think he's even featured for him yet. I think he got injured in pre-season and is set for a big outing on the sideline. And I think that's, probably one of the better ones that we've been able to move on. While he was such a fantastic defender when he stayed fit, I think his pace made up for some of his issues. So, it's not a big loss to us. I know the club did offer him possibly an extension of his contract for 1 year, but again, it was just keeping him fit. And I do think he's starting to fall into the category where he's just getting injured too much. And it's probably for the best that we moved him on. And as proven, he's gone to Hull City and he's got injured in his pre-season. He's not even featured for him. So when he's fit, such a fantastic defender. But I think, again, his pace just makes up for any mistakes he makes. He's very quick, very big on the ball. And a shame he has gone because he was such a fantastic defender for us. But I do think it was the right time for us to move him on. And who can forget the iconic photo of him stood over Fabio Silva from Wolves when we beat them at the Molyneux and him standing down over him? That would be absolutely fantastic. That is a moment that lives in the joys in his head and our heads for free every time we see the name. So, yeah, fantastic player, but I think the right time to move on. John Swift also left on a free, on to Portsmouth. For me, it was promising when he first joined. He was such a fantastic player, getting into those pockets, scoring some good goals. And then he seemed to drop off completely. And I think even Corberán struggled to get anything out of him. And, when it come out, when Sky Sports did the Soccer AM thing with him, and it turns out he was falling asleep in the team meeting, and it's like, is he one of the bad eggs that Tony Mowbray was going on about? Probably. Falling asleep in a team meeting is probably not what you want to be doing as a professional footballer. And he just started to come really deep for the ball and would just stroll around the pitch looking not interested in it, or lose the ball in silly positions. And again, I think us moving him on, it was the right time, for us to get rid of him. Some deadwood that, really didn't seem that interested in playing for us. He's gone to Portsmouth, and I think Portsmouth probably is looking at the same as him. He plays as a holding midfielder for them, and I can't see it. I think he's just lazy for me. He strolls around the pitch, and when he got injured at Birmingham City, I don't think he was ever really the same player again. And he just definitely just almost backed off completely for me. So again, fantastic to move on and get rid of him out the squad, because he did seem like, deadwood and probably a bit of a bad egg in and around the squad. Next up, we had Grady Diangana. He left on a free as well. He's gone to Elche, I think that's how you say it, over in Spain. It's a bit of a strange one for me, because that loan season when we had him was absolutely fantastic, and then we got a chance to sign him, and we did sign him, and everyone thought, oh, we've managed to sign him. But he was never really the same player when he come. He kept mentioning that he was homesick and wasn't enjoying it. And, if you're homesick, why have you moved to Spain and not gone back down to a London club? It's a bit of a strange one for me. He was such a fantastic player on his day. But I do think Pereira possibly made him look a little bit better. Those two almost bounced off each other. And I think a lot of players in and around Pereira probably were made to look a lot better than they actually were because of how good Pereira was. I'm not saying he was a bad player for us in that loan season, because he wasn't. Picking up goals, tricks, and possibly being managed by Slaven Bilic helped as well. So again, after that loan season when he signed, he never really performed. He had a good couple of spells where, we thought this is the Grady we're getting back again, when he was dancing around players, but it was few and far between. And then again, he started to get injured towards the latter stage of his career with us and wasn't really utilised as much. So I think it was a fantastic one for us to, move on really. And I wish him all the best, because I do think there's a player in him. And, on his day, he's untouchable when he was barging off defenders, knocking it round them and running and scoring goals. He can do it, and we know he can do it, but I just think whatever it was, what was going on in his head, or was it the fact he was surrounded by bad eggs that made, was bringing him down? Who knows? But, such a fantastic player and a shame to let go on a free, but unfortunately, it was one of those that he just needed to be moved on at the time. We had a fair few academy players leave this year as well, so I'm not going to dive too much into those ones. The only two real main ones to note as well that were released were Frabotta. Again, never really saw anything of him, but he's gone through 3 managers and none of them have ever tried him at left back when we've been playing some styles at left back. So something must have not been right there for him to not been picked in any of those games. I think he played against Fleetwood, and he also played in pre-season, which caused Banny to get injured. So for me, it's just, was he ever that good, or was it just his name and who he played for? Probably just his name and who he played for. So Devante Cole also left to go to Port Vale. We basically paid him out of his contract so he could go to Port Vale on a free. So again, not really a big loss. Didn't really see him play too much for us. And he's gone to join Darren Moore at Port Vale, so probably at his level as well. So he'll probably score quite a few goals for Port Vale, and hopefully keep him in the league really. And then the only other real big name to note, but this was more of a retirement, was Kyle Bartley. He retired due to a knee injury, and for me, it's a difficult one. If we're talking Kyle Bartley under Carlos Corberán, he was absolutely fantastic. He put everything on the line. He ran for every ball. He scored goals. He wasn't asked to do too high of a job, so he was almost like a deep line centre back. And I think that's why he was fantastic, because he didn't have to rely on pace or anything like that. But if you're talking post Mowbray and post Corberán and pre Corberán, then I'm glad he's kind of moved on now. That Birmingham City game, I don't think he will ever recover. I never thought he'd recover from it. I really didn't. Scott Hogan scoring a hat trick against him and him just storming around, stropping around. It's just. And then the last game of the season against Luton last year, you could tell he wasn't really that interested. He wasn't trying to close the man down when they scored, and for me, he's one of those that never really, really looked like kicking on again this year. And I think Corberán probably got the best out of him because of what Corberán was as a man manager. But again, he's one of those that survived too many managers and probably should have been moved on a while ago. But talking Corberán period, he was absolutely fantastic for us and crucial cog in why we got the playoffs under him. So either side of that, fantastic he's gone. It's a shame, but I think he's probably again one of the bad eggs that we needed moving on. And then we come on to the actual transfers. Torbjorn Heggem to Bologna. What a player he was. Obviously got player of the year for us last season. And to be moved on for 9 million. It's one of those, he's either going to kick on at Bologna and have an absolutely fantastic season and will be ended up being sold to somebody like Napoli or Inter Milan, or he'll go to a big club in Italy, or he always found his level at Bologna. It's one of those. We have got a 20% sell-on fee, so whatever he gets sold from Bologna to whoever he goes to, if he does move on, we get 20% of that, which is absolutely fantastic bit of business, because if he does go and have a fantastic season at Bologna and they demand 40, 50 million for him, then, we're laughing all the way to the bank with a 20% sell-on on that. And it's, again, a bit of clever movement by Patel and obviously the board to get him sold and include the 20% sell-on fee. It is a shame that we lost him, but the players that we brought in, I think it's a fantastic piece of business, and I do really wish him the best at Bologna, because he was absolutely fantastic for us. And I know a lot of Albion fans were saying that his dad was in the crowd a lot, and he was a good laugh as well. So he was probably one of the players that you really didn't want to go. But unfortunately, our current financial position, it just made sense for us to move him on, and allowed us to bring in some players. Well, I say some. His fee alone probably paid for all of our transfers this summer, so it's fantastic for us. And obviously, it helps with PSR that we only paid 650,000 for him, and then moved him on for some stupid profit on it. So I wish him all the best, and obviously, I hope to see him back at the Hawthorns at some point, even if it's not in an Albion shirt. Just be nice to see him back at the Albion. Darnell Furlong to Ipswich, undisclosed. We reckon it's about 3.5 to possibly rising to 4 million with add-ons. Fantastic bit of business by the club. One of the defenders that so good in the air, but his positioning and his just defensive awareness was awful, absolutely awful. And really, was he just a long throw specialist, and was that why he was in the squad? I want to say so. He's coming up to 30 years old now. We paid 1.5 million for him. It's fantastic profit. We've moved him on. And George Campbell, I mean, what a job he did at right back for us. So is he going to be much of a loss? I don't think so. Is it great profit for us? Yeah, it is great profit. Again, you know, his aerial ability was absolutely fantastic, but his just defensive positioning and when he threw his shirt on the floor when he got substituted, for me, that's where you cut ties with somebody. I know he got made captain, and I thought, I don't know why he's quite been made captain, but one of those. Glad we've moved him on. Possibly another one of the players that have been too many managers along. Caleb Taylor went to Millwall, undisclosed. We reckon that's probably 2.5 to 3 million. Fantastic bit of business. He's never really shown like he was ready to make the step up for us. And saying that, he's probably going to go and have a fantastic season at Millwall now and go and show us, what he can do. But I don't think he was ever quite ready for that step up. I think League One is probably, where his level should be and what he will be. But he, big, tall unit, I think he's perfect for Millwall if that's what they wanted to play. Not the quickest, so as long as he's got quick players around him, he'll do well. Academy player, so it's pure profit for PSR against absolutely fantastic body owners. But I do just think probably the right time to move him on, and he never really looked like having much of a look in with us. So I do wish him all the best, and I think he'll do really well at Millwall with the way they play, and he'll get probably a fair few goals from set pieces as well. And then the one that probably breaks a lot of Albion hearts, Tom Fellows to Southampton for 10 million. I think if we'd have got 15 million for him with a sell on fee, I think everyone would have been happy. I think the fact that we got 8.8 million for him is just it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. And I think he'll go and have a fantastic season at Southampton. I think he'll get bags of assists. I think he suits their style very well. And I do think he'll go on possibly to be, a top end championship player. Whether he can do it in the Premier League remains to be seen. I think the fact that Everton didn't come back in for him probably speaks volumes. I think, they went on for other targets. If they'd have come back into him and we'd have sold him to Everton, then, maybe they'd gone on to have a fantastic season. But again, we've got a 20% sell-on fee in his thing as well. So if he does absolutely set the world alight and then goes to the Premier League for silly money, we make some money on that too again. So fantastic business. And one you really didn't want to lose. Tom Fellows, if somebody had said to me at the start of the season, who do you want to lose, Heggem or Fellows? I'd have said I'd probably prefer to lose Heggem because Fellows offers us, something going forward, gets those assists. And unfortunately, we lost both of them. So, big head scratching moment for the managers. And I don't think we ever really properly replaced Fellows as an out and out right winger. So it's a bit of a shame, but the money is in the bank. It's pure PSR profit. And come January, if that's where we're struggling, we've got money to spend. And hopefully that's what the owners are seeing, that, we've got cover everywhere. And if we do struggle, then we'll bring somebody in. So, yeah, those are all the transfers and released. Now let's talk about who's come in. First off, we have Nat Phillips joined from Liverpool for a fee rising up to £3 million. And judged on by the first couple of games he's had for us so far this season, what a signing that is for us. Someone said to me, you're losing Heggem as your player of the year, but you're signing Nat Phillips. It'd have been a bit like, is Nat Phillips ready for it? Obviously, he did well at Derby, but Derby never really looked like pushing on. But he just throws himself at everything. Every ball in the air, he throws his head out, gets bodies on the line. He's absolutely brilliant. And for me, if Wallace isn't playing, there's my captain straight away, right at the back. Vocal, pushing the team on, throwing himself onto everything. A proper old school centre back. And one of the reasons why I think we'll do very well this season is because we've got somebody like him at the back who will push on and want to prove himself to be a fantastic player for us. And I do think he'll become captain if Wallace isn't playing. We signed a couple of lads for under 21s, so I'm not going to dive too much into them ones. Obviously, we bought Heggebo from Brand for 4.75 million. And now, obviously, he scored in the Cup, but he hasn't scored in the league yet. But what a player he is looking for us. A proper out-and-out centre-forward. For such a small frame, the amount of holding up and winning of balls he does is unbelievable. And he brings other players into play, and I think that's the biggest crucial thing for us. He brings 2 or 3 defenders onto him because of how strong he is, and it opens space for people like Johnston, Price, Banny when he's fit again, to be playing the football that they can play. And that is why I think he'll be absolutely fantastic for us. And I think if Madger plays behind him and we push Price out onto the right, or, if we have to go two up top and play those two up top together, it'll be an absolutely fantastic combination, because I think Madger will grab the goals for us and Heggebo will hold the ball up and bring everybody else into play. And I do think once Heggebo gets up to speed with the Championship, I think he'll score goals for fun. I really do. He just, at the moment, it looks like he's trying to take his time with stuff. And I think once that natural click comes to him and he's like, right, this is how I've got to do it, I think he'll score goals for fun. I really do. He's got all the attributes to be a perfect centre forward in the Championship. He's big, he's strong, he just holds the ball up well, gets into positions, runs, he's quick. And, I do think the goals will come for him. He was unlucky against Portsmouth not to get a penalty, and also, to get their centre-back sent off. He was really, really unlucky on that one. But the thing is, he just tried to, stay on his feet and prove that he was the sort of defender attacker that we need, strong on the ball. And again, fantastic signing. Really, really do think he'll do well for us. And, Heggem probably introduced him to the squad and made him feel welcome, which was fantastic. So he's already had a little bit of a settling on before Heggem moved on. George Campbell, when I saw him against Derby at centre back, I thought, ooh, is he a bit of a risky one for us? Obviously, he's come from MLS, where we know the quality isn't quite there. He looks a little bit shaky in the cup. He was, the ball's kind of bounced off him a little bit, and he had to go chasing it. But then he got moved to right back against Stoke, and Sorba Thomas, probably one of the better wingers in the league, he pocketed him. Sorba Thomas had to switch to the other side to get anything out of that game, and I think that proves how good Campbell is. And maybe Campbell's natural position is, right back. From reading the match report, he was up and down the wing, getting in the box, had chances. And I do think maybe right back is his position, and I think that's why we shouldn't really worry too much about Furlong left, because we've got Campbell that can slot in quite nicely, and obviously somebody else with so much I'll talk about in a bit. What a signing it looks like he's going to be for us. Strong, very quick as well. I think when he was stepping out at Derby, he was very quick moving forward. So I think, again, fantastic signing for us. And it shows that the scouting network are looking far and wide. We're not really, just going, well, he's 27-year-old. I mean, look at under Bruce. We signed somebody because he was his neighbour. I mean, yeah, look at that. That's awful. And now look what we're doing. We're signing players from, FC Bron, Montreal, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Birmingham, Chelsea. We're not just going, right, here's who we're getting, and because he's a friend of a friend. We're actually casting the net far and wide, and we do look like we have a proper scouting network again. So a fantastic signing for me. Krystian Bielik from Birmingham City for $1 million. I think it's a fantastic piece of business. Again, he can cover centre-back, midfield. When he's fit, obviously, we'll see what he's like, so I can't really go too much into him. But I think he'll be a fantastic, again, somebody in the dressing room that can be a leader if, the going gets tough. Fantastic. Chris Mepham is who we sign next for around about £1 million. What a Rolls Royce of a player. And obviously, Nat Phillips and Mepham have played together before as well. So there's already that little bit of communication between the two of them. But he is going to be, I think those two together are going to be probably one of the best defence in the league. I mean, those two, the communication, Phillips doing all the nasty work, and Mepham almost playing that ball, playing centre back. I think those two will work absolutely fantastic together, and he looks so good and almost comfortable against Stoke, considering he'd had 1 or 2 training sessions with the club, dropped in against Stoke, who, let's remember, hadn't lost all season, and keeping their big striker quiet. He was absolutely fantastic. What a quality signing he'll be. And again, look at Phillips for $3 million, Campbell for $1 million, Bielik for $1 million, Mepham for $1 million. We still haven't even touched what we sold Heggem for. So it was a no-brainer, really. What a fantastic signing. And I can't believe we managed to get him. I really can't, for the fee that we paid. Absolutely brilliant. And then also we signed Gilchrist from Chelsea, approximately 1.2 million, rising to 2 million potentially. Haven't seen much of him, obviously, because he was signed but didn't really feature. But he did win Chelsea's, I think it was 2024 Young Player of the Season, Youth Player of the Season. So again, he's got the talent to be there. To come through Chelsea Academy, played for Chelsea obviously a few times, and played for, I think it was it Middlesbrough he played for as well. So absolutely fantastic sort of player to bring through. Young, hungry, again, Players that want to play for us, players that want to be there and want to prove themselves and take themselves, their career to the next level. So again, I think he'll be an absolutely fantastic signing for us. Whether he comes in at centre back or whether he plays right back, I think it's a fantastic addition. Then we bought Toby Collier in on loan from Manchester United. Personally, for me, I think he'd be starting for me at midfield. Every time he comes on, he looks so comfortable on the ball. Big, powerful, quick, comfortable, playing the passes out when he needs to be. Fantastic signing. And obviously, Man United respect him and hope a lot of him, because a lot of Man United fans are saying that he's their future of midfield. So let's see what he's all about this season. And then two late loans was Illing Jr. and Charlie Taylor. Fantastic signings, the pair of them. Obviously, I did a video on them. I think they'll really bring a bit of quality to us. Maybe Charlie Taylor goes straight in at left back for us to push Styles further forward. And I'd even be tempted to be starting Illing Jr. just for the pace he's got. He looks absolutely terrifyingly quick. So two fantastic additions there. And obviously, get through to January and it all happens again. So yeah, let me know, guys, what do you think of our transfer window? Overall, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's been absolutely fantastic. It would be a 9 pushing on a 10 if we'd either kept Fellows or got a right winger in as replacement. But again, we've got the money in the bank. We're up against PSR. Absolutely fantastic job that the board have done. Really fantastic signings. Proper players that want to play for us, and not just my neighbour from next door. Really enjoying it. So, guys, let me know in the comments what you think about our transfer window. Who's going to be your standout player this year? I personally fancy Heggebo. Once he starts bagging those goals, I think he'll be absolutely fantastic. And I think Illing Jr. with him, those two are going to be a very good combination. So we'll watch out for that in the games coming up. As I say, let me know in the comments what you think. Leave a like. Let's aim for 40 likes on this video, and subscribe as well, and hit that bell notification. And I'll catch you all in the next episode, guys. Bye-bye.